I'll try to be brief because I have to now rush for a meeting somewhere. We have a parliament starting from tomorrow. But yes, my connect with Kashmir is both genetic and humanitarian. As long back as 2002, I remember as part of our Rotary initiative, I had gone and visited your apne Kashmiri Pandit ke camps in Jammu, where we donated a ambulance, small ambulance and a computer. That was my first connect, or you can say contact with the refugee status of the Kashmiri Pandits in Jammu. Later, when you had your earthquake in Uri, I reached with a lot of aid, humanitarian aid, with the help of a lot of friends and NGOs. We had gone up to Uri, and a lot of professors and Amit and so many people accompanied me. So I have very good memories of Kashmir, you know, not that I've been there too many times, because we must have left Kashmir at least 6-7 generations back. But the feeling of, like Ruchi Saab must be having, the feeling of belonging continues to be there. And and believe me, when I hear Ghazala ji or Jeevan Bhai or Shah Saab or Mujjo ji, at the end of the day, everybody is on the same page. We all want Kashmir to revive. We all want Kashmir to become the old Kashmir that we knew or that we saw. And that was my first speech in Parliament. You won't believe it. I was unprepared. I was not even billed as a speaker, and Kashmir was being discussed. Because this is 2016 or maybe end or maybe 2017 beginning. I don't recollect the date. It is, I think, 16 end. When I just become a member of Parliament from the Rajya Sabha, there was a huge debate for 2 days on Kashmir. Even though I was a Kashmiri Pandit, but the Congress party didn't put me as a speaker. So I had to demand that I'm a Kashmiri Pandit, you have to make me speak. So the speaker agreed also, the vice chair, the chairman agreed. He said, of course, Mr. Tankha is going to speak. And that is where I told my friends that day, I said, Kashmir will never be the same again until back in Kashmir. We are all suffering. People, whether it's Muslims or Hindu, everybody has suffered in Kashmir. Muzaffar Saab bilkul theek bol rahe hain. Ye sabka dukh hai. But at the end of the day, the solution has to come from and through the people of Kashmir. और उस दिन भी मैंने अपील की थी पार्लियामेंटेरियंस को, और आज भी मैं कर रहा हूं, जब तक आप सिविल सोसाइटी को एंगेज नहीं करेंगे in for restoration, nothing is going to happen. I have a long stint as advocate general, as additional solicitor general. मुझे पता है bureaucracy can never come with solutions. Bureaucracy doesn't have the mindset of bringing solutions. Bureaucracy खाली एक situation को manage करती है. Their houses are not open. I know when Kadru Saab ke initiative say we started Chinar Foundation. And what was the reason for starting Chinar Foundation? There was so much of migration taking place. People were leaving in lakhs and crores, not only for Kashmir, but for all India. And we found that that Kashmir ki specific problem thi, ki Kashmir mein, there was no government in a sense. Nobody was willing to talk for people of Kashmir in India. Why? Because they didn't have MPs, they didn't have MLAs, they didn't have a government. People's representatives were not there. And the ones who were there were all under detention. So Kadru Saab, with some of us, took up this responsibility and mantle to become their spokesperson. And then we contacted every chief minister, every nodal officer, every government, made the best possible arrangements that we could at that time. I recollect, I had a fight with the government of Madhya Pradesh at that time. There were 600 students stuck up in Madhya Pradesh, 350 odd in Indore, some in Ujjain, some in more than 600 in fact. Some in Bhopal, Jabalpur, Gwalior. And these students had all gone under the Prime Minister's scholarship scheme. And for a month and a half, there had been complete lockdown. They were alone in a sense. They didn't even know how would they get their meals in the evening. Markets were shut. Restaurants were shut. Hotels were shut. Even the employees used to prepare meals for them in the hostels that run away. And these children, and some of them were girls, a lot of them were girl students, in fact. They were crying. And that's how I started approaching the Kashmir administration. I sent mails to the Lieutenant Governor. I sent mails to the Chief Secretary. Fortunately, the Chief Secretary happened to be somebody from Madhya Pradesh, an ex-Madhya Pradesh cadre officer. I requested him, I said, I've spoken to the Madhya Pradesh government. All you need to give is send an NOC. Because Madhya Pradesh government said, we can't send these students unless the other state is going to receive them. So we got an NOC sent. Now the state to whom these children belong had to organize buses. There was nobody in Kashmir to organize buses for them at that time. Nobody, can't you remember that? There was no.
Yes.
I had to tell Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, I said, Shivrajji, please arrange buses for them. So the Madhya Pradesh government arranged buses for them so that they could go back to Kashmir. So as I said, it's not when such things happen, people cutting across party lines, they come forward. And all 600 students, we managed to send them back to Kashmir via Punjab by buses. Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal ji, Sanjay, we approached all of them. Asif played a huge role in that. I mean, thank you, Asif. I mean, if you're there, I can't imagine anybody doing more for his people than what I saw Asif doing. An example of humanitarianism. So all this led me to think that Kashmir needs a better deal. We can't leave Kashmir like that, Irman. You can't just leave it and not think about Kashmir. The past is past. I know what has happened to the Pandits. It's terrible. But we have to move forward. Today's topic is rightly so. We have to move forward. So, cutting the long story short, Kajal Sahab, aapke tino jo resolutions hai, nobody can have any should have any objection to those three resolutions.
I've added a fourth that Kashmiri Pandits should be compensated adequately, and the condition should be made to enable them to go back to Kashmir.
100%. I was going to say that also. I was going to say that. What I'll do is, isme ek amendment मैं चाहूँगा, Mantu bhai, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Where you have said neutral and impartial observers, we'll have to say we expect the Election Commission of India
to
free and fair elections, because at the end of the day we are doing it under the Indian Constitution. So that will be a fairer thing to say, because otherwise it may create misunderstanding unnecessarily.
Fair enough.
Number two, I'll take the resolutions from you. If need be, I'll put a calling attention motion or something. I will also get others on board. I will talk to all parties and try to involve everybody for this discussion on Kashmir this time. I 100% believe that facilities must come back to Kashmir. If you don't give them 4G status, if you don't give them that the economy doesn't revive, how will people eat? How will people live? I entirely believe that restoration of the statehood is also should be done, and the government has been saying that also. They're also realizing the mistake. And also the third point aapne jo bola tha, that bring back jobs. Without all that, nothing will happen. But fourth, equally important, when you say bring back Kashmiri Pandits to Kashmir. And first of all, I have never been able to understand why Supreme Court has never entertained a petition for ensuring that justice is done to Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir in the matters of criminality. आप आज तक 1984 के riots को लेके you keep giving directions, even today. But for Kashmir, they've never given directions. They always say that it is too late, too late. I mean, Supreme Court has been giving directions for cases which are older than Kashmir, but not for Kashmir. So I have never been able to understand that part of Supreme Court. Kadru Saab would know better because he served as the judge of Supreme Court. We are only lawyers before the court. So why it didn't happen in Supreme Court, I can't say. But at the end of the day, I agree completely that this resolution, which we are going to pass, I'll happily carry it and give it to the leaders of the political parties. And I'll tell them that these are the feelings of not only this a cross section of people, not only from Kashmir, but also internationally, and all which encompasses every section of the society. Number two, I would also be happy to get more suggestions, because somewhere I feel that each political party needs to play a more active role in Kashmir. Somewhere the political process has come to a halt, maybe because of detentions in the past. But now, even after the detentions have been revoked, some have been revoked, I believe some still say that they're under detention, though Supreme Court statement is made that they've been released. But all that aside, normalcy in Kashmir has to be restored, because they are an integral part of us. We don't see Kashmiris as anybody different from the rest of India. That is what we have to imbibe, both in Kashmir and outside Kashmir. If India needs to remain India, Kashmir has to be a part of us. I can't imagine in India without Kashmir. So I'm so glad to hear all points of view. But at the end of the day, all points converge on one point. Everybody is looking for revival of Kashmir. Everybody is looking for restoration of status of Kashmir. Whether it be Ladakh, when I say Kashmir, it also includes Ladakh, it also includes Jammu, it also includes the valley. And I'm right now, I'm not going into the debate of 370 or Article 35, which is before Supreme Court. And I'm sure Supreme Court should hear the matter. There has been a lot of criticism of Supreme Court even on this, that it has not given precedence to hearing these matters and has been hearing other matters, which are less important. But as I said, it's an ongoing evolution. A situation is an ongoing evolution. Things will change, have to change, and we will make them change. Kashmir may not have too many voices in parliament, because I believe there are 3 MPs or 4 MPs from Kashmir in parliament. But take it for granted, this MP from Madhya Pradesh is also a voice of Kashmir in parliament. And maybe a more effective voice, because I will be speaking again and again for restoration of statehood, for restoration of peace, for protection of human rights, for dignity of the people, because it's not only dignity of the people of Kashmir, it means dignity of people of India. And Constitution gives guarantee to each one of us to lead a dignified life. It doesn't matter which party is in power, hardly matters. Constitution is above all parties. Human dignity is above all parties. Parties will come and go, governments will come and go, but India will remain. India will always be there. So with these few words, I join your sentiments, and I'll be happy to be guided also. Not an issue, because nobody can claim, at least I don't claim I'm an expert on any issue, but we keep learning every day. I'm so happy to see Nagma ji, because she has been a very vibrant spokesperson on Kashmir, and she always is on the front foot on Kashmiri issues. And we know we need more people to be speaking like this. And I'm sure in the times ahead, you will wait and see. Kadru Saab, your dream will come true. You are a visionary.
Thank you.
What did my wife tell me yesterday? You know, जो कोई इंडिया में बोलने को तैयार नहीं है वो काजू साहब बोल सकते हैं. And because, not because she's a niece, but because she thinks like that. She says, जिसमें किसी की हिम्मत नहीं है देश में बोलने की, वो बात काजू साहब बोल सकते हैं. मैंने आसिफ को ये बात बोली भी परसों रात को. तो you are our beacon, you are our light. You have initiated a process where now it is Chinar Foundation with Ibadat Khana, and the two of us will work together in unison for development of Kashmir, for growth of Kashmir, for human rights of the people of Kashmir, and let's see how it evolves. Thank you. Prasadaji, thank you. Can I take your leave because I have to now go for a strategy meeting of my party because the parliament is starting tomorrow.
Absolutely, absolutely, Vivekji. Thank you for your kind words. We totally echo your sentiments. I think all of the speakers would echo. We really appreciate and respect that a non-Kashmiri parliamentarian is representing Kashmir. It's really...
You must hear this very nice little thing. When I became a member of parliament, I got a mail from Rajouri, from an army officer who happened to have served in Jabalpur at some point of time. He said, Tankha sir, we have a school run by the Indian Army on the foothills, that is at 12,000 feet to 13,000 feet ahead of Rajouri. They call it a happy school. And this school, they said, is looking after orphan children. You know, people who have died in violence. Parents have died or they are left orphan. He said, the army has a limited budget. Can you help us? I said, what do you want? They said, we want a bus. One, and then we want computers. So immediately I gave them 16 lakhs from my MP lad for a bus. I'm sure the bus must be running in that school. And I, through Rotary and other Delhi Bhaskar and other sources, we collected 10 lakhs for the computers and we sent them that also. Then next they asked me was that, can you come for the inauguration or handing over? I said, देखिए, handing over to आप कर लीजिए, because it's not important for us to be publicizing it and telling the world that we've done this. That's less important. More important is that you use them for the reason we have given it to you. And this is, I think, in September 2016. So all this will only reinforce my love for Kashmir and my love for the people of Kashmir and the humanitarian works that needs to be done in that area. I'll be always willing to join in any humanitarian work that you take up in that area. Thank you.
Vivek, I know you'll miss my talk, which comes later this evening, but I wish to quote you in my talk because I will be talking about the historic Kashmir. And you said, I want the old Kashmir to be brought back. And I will quote you in my talk. And a book with Don't Tear It Down was published by UNESCO from beginning my trip to India the first time in '81, and then in '89, that crucial year, I was there on sabbatical. And with Taz's house on the cover of my book for UNESCO as one of the heritage houses, I wish to honor you, even though you have to go.
Thank you, Randolph. Thank you.